Hola. All right. It had been a long day involving much walking and much drinking, but for some reason we weren't ready to call it a night. For some reason we wanted to keep going just for the sake of not giving up. I guess that's how we ended up at a bar called Donks in Nashville, Tennessee, attempting to surreptitiously buy cocaine from a bathroom attendant who wanted nothing to do with us. Maybe I should back up a little bit, though. We were on the road, smack dab in the middle of this particular tour outing, finding ourselves with a day off the night after we played Nashville. When we woke up, we decided to accomplish two things that day, and those were get haircuts from a crotchety old barber whose shop was conveniently located next to where we had played the night before, and pound the pavement to find a last minute show we could be added to. The first part of our plan was executed to completion rather quickly that morning, which was good, considering it gave us what we thought was more than enough time to find a show. The three of us, my bandmate Chris and our road manager Adam, took to the streets of East Nashville, going from bar to bar, following leads and suggestions from those we met along the way. And of course, we felt slightly obligated to indulge in at least one or two beers at each stop as a show of good faith and to do our part in stimulating the local economy. After hours of rejection at each turn, we accepted that there was no show to be had for that evening and we were going to have to deal with having a night off. We stopped at a grocery store and procured a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, a package of lunch meat, a bag of jalapeno Cheetos, and an $8 12-pack of Yingling. We took our modest bounty back to our even more modest motel room and put the first thing into our systems that day that wasn't beer. It didn't take long for us to rip through a few sandwiches apiece, as well as decimate the entire 12-pack along with the Cheetos. We found ourselves worked into a tizzy of booze-fueled stir-craziness, desperately seeking anything to stimulate ourselves with besides what lie within our four extremely thin motel walls. It was Adam who first suggested we find another watering hole to transplant ourselves to, and Chris and I wholeheartedly agreed. None of us were in driving condition at this point and decided to search for a place within walking distance. Our requirement of needing a modestly priced room had taken us several miles from the hipness of East Nashville, so walking back there was out of the question. A quick search via Google Maps on my phone showed that a sports bar called Donks was less than a 10-minute walk from our present location. And within minutes, we were out the door and on our way. Maybe it was short-sightedness brought on by a byproduct of being tipsy that kept us from researching Donks any further than just getting directions. Perhaps our mounting anxiety and anticipation behind wanting to find somewhere to go kept me from merely scrolling down to peruse a few Yelp reviews. Either way, we were going in blind and we didn't care. We approached the bar hell-bent on drinking whiskey, and a lot of it when a sign came into view that made us realize we might be out of our element. Glowing in the warm night air was an illuminated anthropomorphic female cartoon donkey looking back over her shoulder at the approaching potential patrons. She was rather well endowed in the rear end area, where there was more than enough room on the purple booty shorts she was wearing to proudly display the establishment's name. That's right, the word Donks was written in 10-foot-tall illuminated letters on the ass of a short shorts wearing female donkey. I really don't want to get into the whole donkey ass thing here, so please pontificate at your leisure. There are so many black dudes in the parking lot that I thought a million-man march was about to break out. Rap songs rattled a majority of trunks from which the bass was emphasized accordingly by the varying quality of stereo equipment from car to car. I should also probably clarify that we are three of the pastiest, whitest, skinny white boys to ever come out of a city known for its rap and consumption of scissor. The amount of ink needled into and spread across the majority of our bodies usually served as a sort of cloaking device for our inherent pussiness, but I wasn't sure that any amount of tattoos were going to make us seem like we could hang with Donk's crowd. "Oh man," said Chris, "I'm not sure about this. What should we do?" "Just keep walking," I blurted, and that was exactly what we did. We kept walking right on past the parking lot, keeping our eyes forward and our voices low, but once we walked by, we realized that there was nothing past Donks for us to walk to. "Well, shit," said Adam as we walked into a darkened dead end. "Ah, fuck it," I said, throwing my hands in the air. "We came here to drink, so let's drink." We turned around and marched back to the bar with a newfound conviction for achieving our goal of becoming drunker. "What's the big deal anyway?" I said to the guys as we snaked through the crowded parking lot on our way to the door. "It's a bar, and it's a perfectly natural thing for people to go to a bar when they want to drink, right? I mean, bars aren't race-specific anymore. For Christ's sake, this is the 21st century, isn't it? I bet we're way overthinking this. I'm sure we'll get in, we'll see it's no big deal at all." It was when we had actually walked in the bar that I realized all the stuff I had just said about it not being a big deal and this is the 21st century was a complete load of shit. The only thing missing from our entrance that would have made it the perfect cliche was the sound of a record needle scratch. I wish I were exaggerating when I said that everyone in the bar stopped what they were doing and looked at us. However, everyone in the bar did stop what they were doing and looked at us. I'd be lying if I said we didn't freeze in our tracks and consider backing right out the door and not stopping until we reached our modest motel room. Our courage prevailed, however, and we bellied up to the bar, snagging the only 3 empty stools that just so happened to be together. We ordered our first round of whiskey and shots, and within minutes we had settled into our current scene. It was right around this time that Chris slunk off to the bathroom, returning just in time for another round of shots and beers. "Hey guys," said Chris under his breath, motioning for us to lean in close. "These guys in the bathroom just got some coke from the bathroom attendant. They were doing it in there with him and everything." The first thought that came to my mind was I couldn't believe this place had a bathroom attendant, followed quickly by the thought that we should probably get some coke. Now let me clarify here that we are by no means coke guys and that we don't do it with any regularity. However, there's something about drinking all day and doing multiple shots at a place called Donks that just puts you in the perfect cocaine mood. I realized that Adam and I were still staring at Chris, holding shot glasses with dopey looks on our faces. "Well," I said, "slam a shot, we should get some." Adam slammed his shot, said nothing, and threw a crumpled $20 bill on the bar in front of us like he had willed it to be there. Chris and I exchanged affirming looks as he snatched the bill and clenched it in his fist, and we headed to the bathroom. It was a lot smaller than I thought it would be, having only 1 stall, 1 urinal, and 1 sink, with all the available counter space being taken up by a hodgepodge collection of cologne, breath mints, cigarettes, and a large jar filled with dollar bills. The walls, floor, and ceiling were colored a dull shade of yellow, and the whole place smelled like piss. We were alone in the bathroom for a few seconds, and I wondered if this restroom attendant / drug dealer was going to materialize before us. Bathroom door opened, and the man in question strolled in. He looked a little older than I expected, with silver hairs peppered throughout his mustache. He wore a white t-shirt stretched across his beer gut and dark blue jeans with a sharp crease down the front of both legs. The door shut behind him, and he took a toothpick from his mouth while looking us up and down. None of us spoke. It was like we were each waiting for the other to go first until enough time elapsed to make it officially awkward for all of us. The silence was finally broken once the man spoke up. "Yes, gentlemen," he said with a smile that dominated the majority of the space on his face. His teeth were so perfectly white and gleaming that they looked creepily fake. "What is it I can do for you?" Hey, man," I sputtered. "Yeah, man, hey," Chris said. The man replaced his toothpick, continued smiling, and nodded in response as to say, "Let's hurry this up." "We were hoping," said Chris, taking a pause, "that you could help us wake up." "Yeah, man," I said, suddenly realizing that I really do say the word man quite a bit. "Can't help you," said the man, his smile disappearing, leaving a look on his face that made you wonder if he ever knew how to smile. "Come on, dude. We're not cops, look at us." "I don't think you're cops, I just can't help you," he said. "But I just saw you in here a minute ago." "You didn't see me," he blurted, interrupting Chris. "I can't help you with that." We balked, not knowing where to take the conversation next. We looked at each other, then back to him. "Is there anybody here that can help us?" "Not tonight, boys," he said, shaking his head. We lingered for an extra moment, hoping he was just testing us in some weird way, but as we walked past him to leave, he did, bless you. But as we walked past him to leave, he didn't stop us. Well, Adam looked hopeful as we slunk back to the bar. "No dice," I said as Chris tossed the wadded 20 back on the bar. "That's lame," said Adam, just as a fresh round was set before the 3 of us. "Good thing I ordered us another round while you were gone." We shrugged off our defeat easily, while downing the shots, already joking around about how trying to get some coke was stupid anyway and we needed to save our money. About 10 minutes later, we apparently convinced ourselves otherwise because as the last call bell was rung, Chris and I were headed back into the men's room with our balled up 20 in hand to make one final attempt. "He was probably just making double sure that we were cool," I said to Chris as we once again entered the urine-themed bathroom with high hopes. "That makes sense, right?" We were met head-on by our attendant friend, whose smile dwindled at the sight of us. The door hadn't even closed yet, and he was already shaking his head. "I already told you," said the man, far less friendly than he had been with us the first time. "Oh, yeah," I said, exchanging a nervous glance with Chris. "Still can't help us, right? I mean, that's what you're talking about here." And he shot us a look and pulled up the front of his shirt to display the handle of a pistol stuck down the front of his jeans. We suddenly weren't very concerned with buying coke anymore and hurried backwards through the door and out into the bar. Adam waited by the front this time, staring at his phone with one eye closed while unintentionally swaying. I caught him by the elbow and led him out to the parking lot with Chris close behind. "That was quick," Adam said. I'm guessing the answer was still no. "Yeah," I said, "but fuck it. Let's use this cash to buy some more beer and go back to the room." And that's exactly what we did. Also, for some reason, I shoplifted a 3-ounce can of Frito-Lay cheese dip from the gas station while Chris was paying for the beer. I don't know why I did it, but I know I'm not sorry for doing it. Nashville owed me some cocaine, and I was going to commit petty thievery until it was delivered to me or until I sobered up. whichever came first. Needless to say, we did not succeed in getting drugs of any kind that night. However, we did successfully eat several triple-decker sandwiches stuffed with peanut butter, Cheetos, and Frito-Lay cheese dip. Then, Chris threw up, because he always throws up. Thank you so much.